Welcome to part 1 of combining functions. There are a few ways to combine two or more functions and create a new one. For example, we know that profit is revenue minus cost. If revenue and cost are functions, so is profit. We can create a new function by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing different functions in a composition. Let f and g be functions with domain a and b. Then we can create new functions as follows. F plus g of x equals f of x plus g of x, and the domain is the overlap between the domains of a and b. We would read this as domain is a intersect b. And you will see that for all of the first three types of functions, if you subtract a function or you multiply a function to another function, the domains will be the intersection of those two, or the overlap of the two intervals. You can also subtract functions. F minus g of x equals f of x minus g of x, and you can multiply functions. For example, f times g of x is f of x times g of x. You can also divide functions, but there are more restrictions on the domain. In this particular instance, if you divide the function f by g of x, that is the same as f of x divided by g of x, but we always have to restrict the domain of the function in the denominator so that it will not be undefined. So any values that are equal to 0 must be restricted from the inputs. Suppose the following functions represent revenue and cost. Where x is the number of units produced and sold. We can now write this as a composition of functions. P of x is equal to r of x minus c of x. We can do a substitution for r of x, which is 25x, and we can do a substitution for c of x, remembering that we must distribute the negative sign because we're subtracting the entire function. C of x is 530 plus 6x. Distributing the negative, we get 25x minus 530 minus 6x. If we subtract 6 from 25x, we get 19x. And since negative 530 has no like terms, we are done. The profit function p of x is equal to 19x minus 530.